welcome everybody. Welcome to our session 0 of our new show, Hunters of Calamity. This is a Borderlands-inspired game that we're going to be playing in the Monster of the Week system. I'm excited because this is my first time ever DMing with Monster of the Week, and I've only had a little bit of experience playing in it as well, but I've heard tons of good things about it, and I really enjoyed my limited experience with it so far. And I think it's going to be a really fun one for Borderlands to let us get into the running and gunning and looting type thing without having to worry about billions of rolls. So, excuse me, before we jump into the thick of things, a couple things to go over. We have had some changes to our viewer buffs that you can do from last season. So with 5 tweet interactions, which are for liking, retweeting, or commenting on this tweet here, for every 5, a D4 goes to the cast and the GM.
We are already at 5.
Oh, awesome. Fantastic. I will go ahead and update that counter. And that D4 can be added to any roll, which for this system in particular, it's a particularly big buff. I won't be rolling a ton as the GM for this one, but I do have a couple things that I will roll for, so that'll still be helpful. So the extra D4 or extra D6s are huge for this game because for the most part, we're really only rolling 2D6 for everything. So it's a little bit more impactful for this system than it is for, say, D&D or Fundamental RPG or Call of Cthulhu even. So there's that. There's dollar amounts that you can do for the rest of it. To add a D6, you can give a switch, which switches are really fun. That is something where it changes the action word. So if I use it on a player, then whatever action word they used in their explanation of what they're about to do, I can make them change that to a different action word. And vice versa if a player uses it on me. The $5 one is roll with advantage. Basically, roll twice and take the higher of the 2 rolls. For the $8 one, we're trying something new this season called a borrowed success, which means you automatically succeed if you use one. However, each time you succeed after that, I will roll a d20. And if it comes up 15, then that was the success you used, so you fail at that future task. So it's a bit of a gamble. If you really need a success, though, it can be quite worth it. Complication is mostly self-explanatory. You can throw in absolutely anything into the game, and we have to deal with it. Great example, recently we had somebody throw in a giant Bigfoot-sized space chicken into a game. It was a lot of fun. And then the Phoenix Astra is if you would hit 0 hit points or lower, instead you go to 1 hit point. So it's a sort of an extra life type thing. There's also some cool stuff that you can do with channel points, which we call guild coins. Things like upgrading a D4 to a D6. You can make the cast or myself rhyme for 5 minutes every time we say something. A lot of cool little things like that you can do only with guild coins. And you get those just for watching and hanging out. I think that is about everything on that front, so we'll do some quick introductions, and we'll get some world building and character building going. So let's start with Patrick. Tell us a little bit about Wesley and yourself.
Hi. Yep, I'm Patrick. I'm a Tactric on Twitter and online. I'm going to be playing Wesley today. He is in the Spooky playbook, which I'm looking forward to it. This is my first time with the system too, so I'm looking forward to seeing how this all turns out. Do we want to get into like character details and stuff right now, or just the playbook?
Yeah, no, go right ahead. Tell us anything you'd like us to know about Wesley's motivations, why he's here.
Sure. So Wesley, like I said, he's Spooky playbook. He is Iridium touched. He was part of an experiment by one of the major corporations to try and manufacture artificial sirens in the universe. So he's got some abilities from that don't really work as intended most of the time, and that control of is on. But yeah.
Okay. Very cool. And then where can we find you on the internet?
Sure. It's besides here, you can find me over on the Tales from the Grim channel. They're doing a community game of Watchmen using the Blades in the Dark playbook, which is airing soon. We've recorded the first episode and a bunch of some like episode 0 stuff, and since it's Blades in the Dark, we did a lot of the downtime activities and stuff too. So it's that, as far as I know, that is coming soon. But I will post on Twitter when it's out. I'm very excited for that.
That's very cool. Awesome. So a couple of folks that couldn't be with us today. We've got Brenna, a good friend of mine. She's last of the order on Twitter. Wasn't able to make it today just because a lot of other things going on, and kind of had to choose something to set aside for the day, which is totally fine. So hopefully she'll be back next week to play with us. And we've got Insanity, who's playing Merc Herald. So I'm not sure what happened with him today. I know some folks have been having internet outages and power outages and stuff like that today, so I'm assuming it's something like that, because they have been offline and I wasn't able to get a hold of them. Hoping everything's okay there, but I'm sure we'll see them next week. And then finally, last but not least, we've got Gwen. Tell us a little bit about Paige and also where we can find you online.
So, for Paige, I went with the Spellslinger, which, for me, pretty much every game I've played has been the Spellslinger. I'm thinking kind of Siren adjacent for the powers. Like, they don't exactly fit, but they don't exactly not fit. So for the Spellslinger, I picked Enchanted Clothing and Shield Spell for my moves. Enchanted Clothing, I take -1 harm from any source that tries to get me that does not hit my head, hands, or feet. Not even just any source that doesn't hit my head or my hands, basically, or my arms if I'm wearing a short sleeve shirt.
Okay.
So Shield Spell is when you do the Protect Someone move, you gain +2 armor against any harm that's transferred to you. +2 armor just means -2 harm, but that does not that overrides the other one.
Okay.
So
tell us a little bit about Paige. Like, what's your motivation for hunting vaults?
So Paige grew up on the stories of the Siren and the Sirens of Borderlands, wanting to seek them out first of all and learn more from them.
Okay. Well, cool. And then we can find you here on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Saturdays.
Yeah.
And then on Twitch and Twitter at Potato Hallow, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, to do a little bit of setup here for everybody. So the story in the galaxy that you're in is you've heard about these sort of mythical or legendary stories about vaults that are filled with treasure, essentially. Not so much like magical powers or technology or anything like that, but more like, gold and gems and rubies and stuff like that. And for a very, very long time, they were supposed to be just a myth. But you started hearing reports that someone actually found one. And of course, stories like that go around, rumors all the time. But this was actually confirmed. They did find one, and it was full of gold. And you learned just a tiny little snippet more about the mystery. And the stories that you read made it sound like all these vaults were sort of set up by sort of like intergalactic pirates. And they used these vaults to store all the loot that they had stolen from a time long ago. Most of the rumors and tall tales, legends, and things like that about those vaults said that there should be one on Calamity, which is the planet you're currently on. You're not entirely sure where to start looking, other than the fact that it's on this planet. The planet is pretty bare, sparsely populated for the most part. It's barely habitable, but there is plenty of human settlements on the planet. There's different cities that you can go to, such as the one that you find yourselves in, which is called Vale. So Vale. So you're in Vale on the planet of Calamity. Wesley, did you come here from another planet in search of the vault? Did you grow up here? What's your motivation for being in Vale?
I didn't grow up on Calamity. I heard about it elsewhere, and I'm heard about the treasure, and I'm coming for that. It's since Wesley kind of has been a bit on the lam. He's after he was experimented on. There were a lot of resources went into that, and so when he did not want to stick around for that, it's people come looking.
Okay.
So he kind of moves from place to place, and could really thinks this treasure would be good for getting him someplace good and far away permanently.
Okay. So major motivation being you can come here, you could easily blend in with all the other hunters that are coming here, and if you can find the vault, you can fund your escape, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Paige, what is your motivation for being in Vale? Have you traveled here? Did you grow up here? Maybe you grew up in another town on Calamity. What's your story for being in Vale?
So, if you allow it, Paige grew up on another planet.
Okay.
Hearing stories of people like them, and heard that there were others like them on this planet, adjacent to the vault being there, which is not really that much of interest to them, but
okay. So you heard that there are others on the planet with unique abilities, and the vault is more of a secondary objective for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
Paige is just tired of being the only one that is strange and has been outcast their whole life, and just wants to find others like them.
Okay. That is totally fair. All right. So you've both found yourself on Vale, and I will let you two decide. Do you want to know each other beforehand, or are you meeting for the first time?
Oh, Wesley was one of the people that Paige would have heard of.
Okay. So
Yeah.
maybe familiar by reputation?
Yeah.
Okay. How about you, Wesley? Are you familiar with Paige at all, or is this just some person that has heard of you but you don't know them?
I don't know if he would have known Paige by reputation or not yet, but it's I think he would have gotten a name and a description of just from sources of people that are when someone's looking for him, he kind of puts out feelers to give him a heads up about that, to make sure the wrong people don't find him.
That's fair. All right. Let's see. What else do we need to set up here? So you've got your motivation for being here, your relation to one another, some other things to set up for the world. Like I said, you're in Vale City, which is not the smallest town, but it's a far cry from being like a bustling metropolitan area or something like that. It's somewhere from between small and mid-sized city. So they do have a spaceport. You can land a spaceship here, but it is a very small one. Virtually any supplies that you would need you can find here. Basic weapons, ammunition, medical supplies, personal shields, things like that, which for the purpose of the game system, I'm going to treat as armor. So basically 1 point of shield negates 1 point of harm. Unless there's certain weapons and certain things can bypass them, but for the most part, that's what it'll equate to. So you can find a lot of things like that here, as well as vehicles. There's even maps and people that are of course selling their services as guides. There's a lot of posters and billboards welcoming vault hunters and offering all sorts of services that may or may not be helpful. A lot of treasure maps as well. Many guaranteed to take you right to where the vault's supposed to be. So I'm going to have you two coming off of the same spaceship, where you're able to meet as you step off the ship. So go ahead and sort of play out your introduction to each other here, and then we'll move on to what you see in the city.
Wesley, is it?
Who's asking?
Oh, I'm Paige. I don't know if you've heard of me or not. I've been looking for you.
That part I heard. I haven't heard why.
I hear you have some unique powers. I do too. I just wanted to know what are they? And I just wanted to meet you.
Right. Well, I can see things that you maybe can't. What's the interest?
Oh, well, I've just been kind of on the outskirts of society my whole life. I mean, my parents didn't even want me. I just finally got some resources together and wanted to come to a place where there were others like me. And I heard that you were one. And I also heard that you had need for help on work you were doing.
Well, I think my work is the same as the majority of the people's work here. I'm looking for treasure. Enough treasure to make it so that people can't just find me out of the blue. No offense.
None taken. I am all for helping you with that.
As the two of you are having that conversation, and you mentioned looking for treasure, a somewhat rough-looking man steps out from behind a little newsstand with newspapers and things like that, and goes, "Oh, you're looking for treasure? You wouldn't be vault hunters, would you?"
I think you already know the answer to that.
Well, you never can be sure. Some people are looking for all sorts of things. And you can see he's got like overalls with like one strap is missing the button. He certainly looks like he himself could use a surplus of income coming in to help him with his wardrobe and things like that. He looks pretty rough, but he does sort of perk up as you say, kind of confirm that you're vault hunters, and says, well, if you're looking for a vault, I can't tell you where it is. I don't have a treasure map that X marks the spot or anything like that. You'll see a lot of people selling those. They're a bunch of baloney. But what I can give you is a map of the area that shows you, some of our, well, the we call them roads. It's probably a generous term, but it shows you the roads that are in the best repair and some places to stay away from. If you're interested, I could sell you one.
Ooh. Please, yes.
Okay. So he's like, all right, I'll sell you one for, let's say $10.
That's a steal. Here.
Okay. So you give him $10, which is probably a little expensive for what you now see as a hand-drawn map. But nevertheless, the crew drawings do look like they could be accurate. You can clearly see where Vale is. You can clearly see the roads. It's definitely hand-drawn, but it seems to be well made, despite that.
Is this like children's placemat at a restaurant style map?
No, it's like a pencil sketch map.
Got it.
It's not made with crayon or anything like that. And you can see it shows where Vale is, and it shows a couple of different roads going out of the city. And sort of as you're looking at it off to the west, you can see that it leads up to some mountains where there's some little notes drawn in, like snow, burr, bring snowshoes on a different spot, things like that. And off to the east, it looks like the land sort of goes down in elevation and sort of flattens out, and you can see some notes like danger, were dogs here.
Were dogs?
Yeah. And some different things like that, like just different spots that you should look out for. So you get the feeling that it's probably a good thing to have handy for reference, because you can kind of check where you are and check the map to see if you should be worried or not.
And Paige seeing that on the map and being like, I've dealt with were dogs before. They're not fun.
Huh. Maybe I should have asked this earlier, since I've got a at the start of each mystery ability that I picked. Are we mystery in session 0, or are we still pre-mystery until next session?
Technically pre-mystery, but what is the ability? Because it might still apply.
Premonitions.
So, yeah, it's premonitions. At the start of each mystery, roll plus weird. On a 10+, you get a detailed vision of something bad that is yet to happen. You take +1 forward to prevent it coming true and mark experience if you stop it. Then 7 to 9, get clouded images of something bad. On a miss, you get a vision of something bad to happen, and the keeper holds 3 to be spent 1 for 1 as penalties to rolls that I make.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
So
I love that ability.
I'd say yes, you can try to use that if you would like, because I can give you some more information with that than you would have otherwise.
Sure. So I click on just the dice next to weird then?
I think so. I haven't even looked at the Roll20 sheets
that's what
yet.
You do. It automatically rolls for you.
No forward. Ooh,
Oh,
Crit.
wow!
Or-
You got crit. Yeah.
Nice, a 14. I'm going to very quickly do this so everyone can actually see what's going on.
So you get a detailed vision. Yes!
There we go. That actually gets us to where you can see it on the roll counter on Twitch here. Perfect. So 14. So yeah, you do get a vision. You feel like you're probably pretty safe. You don't see your newfound friend and yourself going very far outside of the city. You do see yourself sort of standing outside, holding up the map, and you can see looking around that it was a good purchase. It seems to be very accurate despite the handmade drawings. You also are able to see sort of a Jeep-like vehicle. So think like a Jeep Wrangler or sort of like a half Jeep, half go-kart type thing. So it's got like the bar cage over the passenger area, but otherwise it's open. And you see some folks with what looks like war paint. They've got paint all over their bodies and different designs and sort of like bloody handprints over their eyes. And they don't look too friendly. You get a bad feeling about it, and you see them sort of patrolling just outside of town. Letting you know that if you do head that way, which was west, you'll probably run into trouble. Aside from that, I think that's about all I can give you at this point.
Okay. So it's
You also see two other people that you're going to encounter later. Those, of course, being our other two players. So you know you're sort of destined to join up with a couple of really good adventurers.
so Paige sees Wesley like looking at the map, and his eyes, which have kind of have like this shifting iridescence to them, even normally. They just flash kind of like a bright light blue as he's looking at the map, and he just reaches out and points. Was it south of town? You said.
West is where the
West.
bandits are.
Got it. I pointed out on the map, and I'm just like, there's a patrol that way that we'd be best to avoid.
Ooh, that's cool. Have you had that ability your whole life?
No, I have not.
Aw.
No, these are. These were not born.
Okay. So now you have a map. Wesley, you have some idea of what to expect in the surroundings. The sort of rough-looking, haggard man pulls out a second copy of the map and says, "Did you want one too?"
I mean, we're traveling together.
Well, you know, if you get separated, or a were-dog eats one of you, it might eat the map with them, and then you're stuck out there without a map. It's always good to have a backup.
Excuse me. Why would one of us get eaten by a were-dog?
Well, if you went out there and tried to pet one, I don't know. Lots of people get eaten by were-dogs for all sorts of reasons. Mostly stupidity.
Looks at Wesley. I think we're good.
All right, well, you can't blame me for trying to, make another sale. Well, enjoy your vault hunting. And he kind of wanders off, holding the $10 bill like it's the most precious thing in the world as he promptly goes to a clothing store.
Wait,
You get the
I
impression
didn't
that the economy here is very bad. Sorry, Gwen, you were going to say something.
I didn't. I didn't describe Paige. You didn't describe Wesley either. So we'll leave
Oh, that's a
that
good
for
point.
later.
What do you two look like? That's actually a good point.
So first, Paige is scraggly red hair in a pigtail, goggles, uh, overalls, overall dress, and yeah. Uh, very just dirty and out what looks like outdoorsy type.
Okay. What about Wesley?
Wesley is he's God, what was the word I was just thinking? Sorry. He's kind of this relatively tall, kind of wiry guy who he's very covered clothing wise. There's no real skin exposed. He's in kind of, I guess, what you would consider like tactical clothing, in that it's meant for mobility, getting around kind of some harsh environments. Yeah, gloves, like duster or jacket with like a high collar up, kind of like scarves wrapped kind of around his neck too. And it's really, he would really kind of blend in and not be particularly easy to spot if not for kind of the odd eyes that I mentioned before that just kind of seem to shift as you watch them.
Okay. Very cool. The two of you really you might stand out in some places, but here you blend in perfectly. You both look like typical hunters. And as you look around, you notice there's quite a few of you, hunters that is. Many of them sort of milling about the area right outside the spaceport. And you see some of them heading towards a particular section of town, which if you kind of squint, you can make out some signs that say like weapons and ammo, and a lot of these shops look like they've sprung up practically overnight. So the signs are not very professionally made. Some of the buildings look like they were pieced together last minute. Some of them are even just tents with a table. And so you get the feeling, sort of a feeling like the old gold rush towns of in California and the Western U.S. before they became states. Sort of that feel to it. You also notice off on the other side of town, there's a couple of alt hunters and a few of the regulars that are going towards a building that you can't quite make out the sign from here, but you notice this weird looking green smoke coming out of the building. And if you listen real closely, you can hear what sounds like loud bass sounds from a speaker playing. Where would you two potentially go first?
So so that green smoke looks very intriguing.
It looks like smoke. Interesting smoke, I guess. But there's plenty of people there. We may be able to cross a few places off the map.
Yeah.
Are you equipped for travel? Are you I guess what supplies did you bring when you were off on your quests to meet friends?
So I've got my canteen. I've got my MREs,
Mhm.
about 20. I've got my compass and my goggles. Oh, and my sword.
There we go. Good.
Okay.
As long as you had something prepared for the people that you don't want to be meeting.
Oh, I have this, and fireball comes out of her hand.
Um,
Oh.
as you do that, some folks around you start to look a bit uncomfortable. You hear a couple of oohs and ahs. You hear, "What's that?" Um, you're starting to draw attention.
And Paige goes red faced because they're used to this, but at the same time, they thought they got away from all of that.
Yeah. You get the distinct feeling that while hunters are known to possess different abilities and things like that, and this is the most likely. Just smacked my hand in my notebook. Hunters are the most likely ones to share those abilities. Not everybody has them, nor has everyone seen them. So you're starting to draw some unwanted attention. Do you have a particular move for your playbook that helps you blend in or anything like that?
So
or redirect attention?
That is typically a sharp roll. Let's see. I don't remember the core rules, but it's one of the core rules.
I'm actually gonna say as far as that goes, because sharp, as I was reading through, looks more like it's everything I was looking at had more combat related to that. I'm gonna have you roll cool to see how well you're able to shrug it off, stay calm, and and or redirect attention.
That's straight 2d6 then. That's a 3.
3. Okay. So you you start to panic a little bit from all the attention that you're getting, and flick your hand trying to put the fire out, and inadvertently set the newsstand on fire.
Oh no!
The good news is not a lot of people saw it was you that set it on fire. So the vast majority of the attention is on, oh my god, the newsstand is on fire, not, oh my god, somebody threw a fireball at the newsstand. So if you left now, you'd probably get away without any other unwanted attention. Or,
let's
authorities getting involved.
Do I notice anybody that has paid particular attention to this? Do I notice anyone in the crowd that's kind of noted this?
You notice 2 or 3 people that were watching the entire time, but those 2 or 3 people have a look of, nope, I didn't see that. I don't want to get involved. I don't want to know. I'm leaving.
Good. That's a good look for them.
Yeah. So yeah, nobody is pursuing you, but if you stick around, eventually someone from police or something like that are gonna come asking questions. So do you stay or do you go?
Yeah, we're going. Paige is going. I don't know if Weston's going.
Wesley kind of like that Homer Simpson and the hedge gif. I'm just like into the crowd when the building lit on fire.
Okay. So as you leave that spot, you basically, I mean, if you really want to go somewhere else, you can figure out how to get there. But the main options for travel open to you are back to the spaceport, left as you're facing away from the spaceport, left to go to the shops, or right to go to whatever that green smoke building is.
Yeah, Paige is going to the green smoke building. Wesley's
Okay.
probably not.
No, Wesley is. He's just temporarily
Taking
created
the long
some
way.
distance.
Taking the long way around.
All right. So as you head over to that direction, there's far fewer people in the street as you go that route, and you're able to get a little bit closer. There's more smoke sort of pouring out of the building, and that's when you can see the sign and hear really loud. It's not quite like house music or techno. It's like trance music. So it is very synthy and has some techno elements to it, but it's a lot more repetitive and not quite as like dance music as it's like house music would be. A little more relaxing, even though it is very loud. And you're able to see the sign finally, and it says, and you're gonna laugh at this, Toxie's Hookah Bar, Pub, and Motel. And the entire branding has a lot of green and yellow in it. The doors are open, which is why there's lots of green smoke sort of pouring out, as it is a hookah bar. Do you go inside?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. As you go inside, let me have you roll. I'm going to say sharp for this one. And if you have any moves or anything like that help you with observation or perception, you can use those. Let's see how well you notice your surroundings in this very, very smoky bar.
So I don't think it would help here, but just kind of going forward, I've got a move called the Sight, which is I can see invisible things, especially spirits and magical influences. I may also communicate and maybe even make deals with the spirits, which helps spot clues when I investigate a mystery. So I don't know about spirits and stuff, but it's any kind I thought it might help with some of kind of like magical hints type thing, maybe, or kind of magical residue, maybe.
Sure.
Again, I don't think it'd help it here, but
you can certainly use it here. I won't say that it's going to help you or not help you here. You can use it here, and it would give you some information, but it may not be the information that you're specifically looking for at the moment. If that cryptic explanation was understandable.
got it.
Investigate a mystery. Roll plus sharp. Okay. Yeah. Oh yes. So I'm going to roll plus sharp. That's a 7 total. So I'm gonna put that in there.
Okay. Sorry. Insanity, our other player, just messaged me and said they're actually able to get on now. So I think they might be joining us. If that happens, we'll just have to adjust the video screens. Probably we'll take a little break at that point or something like that. But a 7 to look around. It's really hard for you to see. There's a lot of smoke and it's obscuring your vision. But you do notice a few things that are pretty obvious. So one is sort of it looks like a bar. If you've ever seen the show Cheers, it looks kind of like that. So there's a complete rectangle of bar space with bar stools, and there's glasses and mugs and things like that hanging overhead. And behind that bar is a very large, very muscular man wearing like skin tight muscle shirt type clothes.
Ooh.
And he winks at both of you as you walk in and says, "Hey there, I'm Toxie. How can I help you?" If you want to look around more, you can say, "I'm just looking around for the moment." That's fine.
Yeah.
Or you can engage him now. Entirely up to you.
Yeah, we're just looking around for now.
Okay, well, if you need anything, and he does like the snap finger guns, you know where to find me.
Yes, we do.
All right, and as you continue to look around, you can see there is another section where all the smoke is coming from that has several different sort of hookah stations all set around with that same green smoke coming out of them as people are using them and exhaling the smoke out. Everybody that's using it looks really, really happy and very, very chill. You're not sure what substance it is they're smoking, but it seems to be having a calming effect on them. Let's see. You also notice another counter sort of on the opposite side of the room, which has a board behind it with a bunch of keys. And your best guess is that is the motel section. And you notice there's another section with some tables where it looks like some people are playing cards and things like that. Probably poker or something along those lines. And you notice a door going to like sort of a back part of the building that's not far from the bar. Best guess is that's the kitchen area. So that's what you notice. Wesley, did you roll for sight as well?
I did. I rolled sharp. It was a 6, so not particularly helpful.
So yeah, you notice Toxie and that whole exchange, but that's about it. Everything else is obscured by smoke.
Ooh. So Painful goes sit down at one of the card tables and say, "Deal me in, please."
At one of the card tables, you said?
Yeah.
And what did you say?
I said, "Deal me in, please."
So there's a couple of folks there looking at you, and they're obviously locals. Both wearing overalls, and you start to notice a theme with these overalls. They all have the same color, and the same trim and everything like that. You don't notice like a name tag or a company name on them, but you're guessing that it's some sort of uniform. As you notice them, but they look at you and they don't look too friendly exactly. It's not like open hostility, but one of them definitely gives you that look of like, "You ain't from around here, are you?" And his partner across the table from him that he's playing cards with kind of looks at you and goes, "You aren't one of those hunters, are you?"
Not yet.
He just sort of grunts, goes, "Well, we don't like hunters here. Coming here, causing all sorts of ruckus and driving people out of business because everybody's trying to sell guns now, and I can't get my favorite I just drew a complete blank. I can't get my favorite canned beans anymore because they don't make them because the factory got changed to make ammo now, and just a whole bunch of trouble."
Oh, that sounds terrible.
Yeah, so I don't like hunters. If you're a hunter or you're trying to be a hunter, no offense, but I don't want to play with you.
Not taken. Enjoy your game.
And don't cause trouble.
I will certainly not do that.
Yeah, well, glad to hear it. And they sort of ignore you at that point and go back to their game.
Finger guns is walking away.
Do me a favor, roll cool. If you fail, I'm not going to have anything bad happen. But if you succeed, I will have something else happen. So it's a risk-free roll.
So that's a 7.
Okay. So as you do that, you suddenly realize that this is sort of the it's like the equivalent of a slogan or a jingle for this business, is the finger guns. And so both of them sort of half-heartedly give you a snap finger gun back and then go back to playing their game. 1 second, just getting Insanity, the Discord or the Zoom link.
Mm-hmm. Well, they don't seem very friendly.
No, you should have taken them for all they were worth.
I mean, I could have if they would fill me in, but sadly, no. They did not.
The music changes as you're talking, and now it's still sort of that trance sound, but there's also like a wow 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 sort of I don't know what giant horn instrument, I don't know what that's called, but that's what's also going on, and it's a bit distracting for you at the moment.
But that sounded just like a didgeridoo.
There you go. But otherwise, there's nothing really new of note unless you go investigating it. This does seem to be the local hangout spot, so if you were looking for information, this is probably a good spot to be.
I don't know about you, but whatever they're smoking over there looks pretty good to me. They all look pretty content.
Okay, I'm going to go up to Toxie. Do you have any information on people with strange abilities?
Like, I've got lots of information. If you want strange abilities, I've got this mix that I can put in one of those hookahs. It will blow your mind.
Yes, please.
It's like, all right. Kind of looks up from over the bar, looking at all the different section, and goes, "Oh yeah, there's one open over there. Here, I'll mix you up a batch. See, this is a pretty special one, so it'd be about $50.
Do I have any sense of price for these things? Or do we have money? Is money a thing that I own right now?
I don't think that the playbooks give you a starting amount, if I remember reading through right. So I'm just assuming you have a modest amount of money to start off with.
Yeah.
As you look at your wallet, $50 is probably about a third of what you have currently. Less a matter of, is this a reasonable price, and more of, is this a reasonable price for your current budget?
Paige looks at Wesley. Halvesies?
Sure. Okay. So let's say you both start with 150. Gwen, you're down $10 because you bought a map. So yeah, 25 each from there. Toxie hands you this sort of like, almost looks like a tea infuser, but it's a cylinder that's completely closed except for the little holes all through it, and says, "Yeah, just drop that in that little machine over there, and go have a good time." And then does the little finger gun snap.
Nice.
And Paige does the same thing.
And he goes, "Ah, now you're getting it."
Is the open spot that he gestured us towards? Is it near anyone else? Like eavesdroppable?
Yeah, you could definitely listen into conversations going on to the one next to you. The one to you, if you're facing it, the one to your left, there's 3 people there. The one to your right is empty. But if the ones to the left are saying anything interesting, you could certainly overhear it.
As much as I admire your straightforwardness in asking questions, I think folks that can do the kind of things you and I do, they tend to, for the most part, they stay alive in doing them by not sharing that all the way around.
See, that would have been good to know, like,
welcome, Zan.
18 years ago.
Hey, welcome to the party. Let me take a couple seconds here to get your video window adjusted correctly. But to catch up on what's happened so far, we've talked a little bit about Wesley and Paige, and you're currently in the city of Vale. They're currently in Toxie's Hookah Bar, Pub, and Motel, getting ready to eavesdrop. So it's actually a really good time to introduce your character.
Fantastic.
Have you join in there. So while I'm adjusting these video windows, we'll pause on Wesley and Paige's conversation. Tell us a little bit about Merc and why you're in Vale on the planet of Calamity. To catch up on what's going on there, it's basically like a gold rush. Everybody's heard that the vaults are real, and there's been rumors that there are vaults on Calamity, or at least one. And so lots of these potential hunters or would-be hunters have all come to the planet to hunt for the vaults. So you could either be from another planet coming in, or maybe you grew up on Calamity. You could even be from Vale itself. It's entirely up to you. So just tell us a little bit about your motivation for being here, and a little bit about your character.
Yeah, so I think Merc is actually, I think he is a local boy. He got involved in the search for the goodies a little bit early on, before there was quite so much safety and regulation and oversight, quote unquote, on all those. And he found himself trapped in a mine collapse at one point, unfortunately exposed to high doses of iridium, and it took the body collectors, more so than the rescue crew, a few weeks to get down there to him. And by the time they found him, a few things had changed, and he wasn't quite the same guy that he was the last time that he left the surface. So now, after that harrowing near-death experience, he just kind of spends his days seeking out what feels good. He's about being happy. That's his job. His thing is he wants to make himself be as happy as he can. So right now he's just chilling in the hookah bar, enjoying a nice blended apple and mint, and probably some less than so fine whiskey. He is using the monstrous playbook. He is iridium tainted and can draw the life from others, and is pretty scraggly, pretty greasy, and but somehow oddly charming. And carries around a giant, well, for lack of a better term, giant sword, giant butcher's knife. just to make sure that people don't cross him when he's trying to have a good time.
Ooh.
But he's a pretty easygoing, pretty good-natured guy. After the accident, before that, he was a little high-strung and kind of saw the error of his ways. And now he's just about the fun, just trying to. Everybody else is here causing a lot of commotion and fuss, and he just wants to smile.
That's awesome.
Fantastic.
So, oh, Raven, you're muted. We can't hear you.
Ah, there we go. That's because I was typing. I muted it. Thank you, I forgot. So that actually works out perfectly. So we'll have you at the hookah station next to Wesley and Paige. Maybe there's a couple other people there at the same station. Maybe they're just other locals that you know. But yeah, you're there and you notice Wesley and Paige come up with their own little container of stuff that Toxie, the owner of the establishment and main bartender, has put together for them. And Toxie is this big buff dude with like a muscle shirt and really tight clothing. And the sort of slogan for the whole place, the branding for it is like the double snap finger guns after saying anything. So you probably noticed Toxie, mix that up for them, hand it to him. You can tell by Toxie's body language that this is the quote-unquote special blend. And then you see him do the double finger guns and they walk over. They definitely look like they're from out of town. And Wesley, since you had your premonition, as you get closer to your hookah station, you recognize Merc as one of the people who is supposed to join you. So I will unpause your conversation there. What do you do when you see Merc?
It's if the station next to him is open, if that's where we're heading, I want to continue going there just so I can see if I can eavesdrop and hear a little bit about who this is and kind of what they get up to before I initiate contact.
Okay. Perfect. I love it. So, Merc, one of your friends is there. They are, they're pretty out of it. They've been at the place all day. But your other friend is maybe somebody that you knew from when you were working in the mines. And they're complaining about the working conditions and the lack of pay and just general job griping. But it's all very valid, legitimate complaints. So they sort of finish a rant and look at you and go, I don't know, what do you think?
Well, I mean, if it's that bad, you can always just not do it. It's not that bad to just not do it, right? Like, just take a day off, man. It sounds like you kind of need it.
If I take a day off, then they're gonna cut my hours, and then I won't make as much, and then my wife's gonna kill me.
All right, so get your buddies together and we'll start a union or something. I don't know. There's got to be a reasonable way to solve this. Right?
As you say union, the guy who's been completely out of it suddenly snaps to and is like, oh, don't say that word. Don't say that word. You don't want us to get in trouble.
Oh.
They start hearing that word, the U word, they'll fire all of us.
Oh, wow. I mean, then maybe you should do something without using words. Right? That's what we're saying here. We're saying we just stop talking and we just go about doing something wild, right?
You mean like paint a picture?
Yeah, yeah, paint a picture to describe the deplorable working habits. Yeah, that'll really show this town. Yeah. Maybe.
Uh, these less out of it friend of yours goes, oh, you know, I always wanted to be a painter. Uh, and you know, there's that big rock face right outside the mine. I bet I could paint something there. Maybe
Oh hell
that
yeah.
Maybe that would get the message across.
Yeah. Let's go tag that thing. Yeah.
Okay. Roll a charm or any applicable moves you have
Alrighty.
to convince your two compatriots here that this is a really good idea.
So on I have unnatural appeal. So on to manipulate someone, I roll plus weird instead of plus charm.
Okay.
So that means that I have a whopping grand total of plus weird. Manipulate someone, and that is so that's an 11.
11. Awesome. Excuse me.
No worries.
So you are very convincing. And yeah, they get pretty fired up about it, which is saying something because at least one of them is incredibly high at the moment. So yeah, they both cheer and nod, and the really high one agrees to help the other one, and they sort of clap you on the back and head out, leaving you alone to enjoy the rest of your hookah there.
They're gonna get themselves killed.
So Wesley and Paige, you've been able to overhear this whole thing. How do you react?
I think I very obviously laugh with you when you make that joke afterwards.
Yeah. And yeah.
And it's
Paige is gonna say, he's gonna laugh and just say, very well done, very well done.
if you wanna, Paige, if you want to introduce yourself to strangers, he's a good one. I saw him before.
Oh, cool. When you did the seeing the future thing.
Yep, that
What?
thing.
What?
Yeah. My friend.
Y'all haven't even hit that yet. You shouldn't be seeing the future for a good 20 minutes.
Well, my friend Wesley here can see the future.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like
Wesley is
tomorrow or
actively
like-
smoking at this point during your conversation.
Can you see the future tomorrow or like next week? 5 minutes? Like, what are we talking about here?
It's a little bit different each time. It's usually not good stuff. It's usually warnings.
Oh,
Yeah, it doesn't seem to. The time isn't a constant factor. More so the danger.
oh.
Paige is also smoking. If there's more than one.
Oh yeah, there's several little tube things. I don't know what they're called, but there's plenty there for you to be able to smoke at the same time.
Well, in that case, I'll probably I imagine my pipe's just about ashed, so I'll hop up and go saddle up at the table with them and grab a hose of my own.
Okay.
So
Excuse me.
So visions, you said.
Yeah, it looks like you can do something really cool too.
Oh yeah, you want to see some real cool stuff? And I kind of just touch my fingers together and pull them apart, and there's a slight iridium glow, and then put them back down.
Oh, that's about like what I can do. And puff smoke, and then puts the thing down, and like a really tiny fireball this time because Paige learned from the last time they did this.
Wes is actively looking for something to put out a fire as you're preparing.
And then quickly just extinguishes it.
Okay.
that is pretty cool. I can't do that. That's real neat.
Yeah. Mm. I think it's when I'm high strung, it gets all over the place. But this stuff is
So I'm gonna go ahead and be a little bit blunt. Sorry. What brings y'all into town? Just curious. You talk about seeing the future, and I believe you mentioned seeing me. So what brings y'all about these here parts?
I'm just seeking people with powers and wanting to meet them and have people that are not scared of me.
What's there to be afraid of?
Well,
About that time, you do see a couple of other people walk in, and they're at the bar, and you overhear them talking really loudly to Toxie. Did you see what somebody did up by the spaceport? They set the whole newsstand on fire. I don't know who it was, but the whole thing, it's still smoking up there. So
Paige just goes red.
I was going to say, Paige, if you could roll cool for me to see how well you react to that, or rather, don't react to that, to call attention to yourself.
I choose to fail.
Okay. Yes, Merc, Paige very obviously had something to do with that.
Mm.
You can read on her face. Thank you, Saito, for that host.
Oh shit! Y'all are gonna be fun, aren't you?
I'm trying not to be that kind of fun.
Oh, don't worry. That kind of fun's real fun.
I think you're in the wrong place for that.
Excuse me.
Still visibly just red.
It's okay. I mean, if you keep it up, it'll attract plenty of attention. You'll get to meet all the people you want. I think we'll just meet a lot of extra people in between this and that.
Oh yeah, y'all don't want to meet the lawman around here.
How are the lawmen around here? Because the lawmen around where I come from are not. Well, they're assholes.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty consistent thing.
Another little tidbit about the lore of the town that you're in. Vale is very much a company town, so most of the lawmen are like low-level company management.
Of course.
They sort of take shifts being the police officers, and their whole job is to make sure that nothing interrupts profit and that the town is reasonably peaceful. But these are very non-powerful people being given a little bit of power. And for most of them, it goes straight to their head.
Yeah, they're kind of what happens when you give a Chihuahua a little bit of speed. Thinks it's the biggest dog on the block, and it's just they're a little bit of a hassle on a good day.
Are we talking a were chihuahua?
Yeah, something a wereskag. Yeah. It's not pretty. It's not pretty.
I've dealt with their dogs before. They are not fun at all.
Yeah. So I like that kind of fun, and I fully endorse that kind of fun. But we might want to be a little careful, drawing attention from the wrong sorts with that kind of fun, if you dig.
And Merc, you would know that that type of fun is usually best confined to outside the city. Because outside of Vale, it is completely lawless.
Well, I mean, if y'all want to go have some fun, some real fun, I know a couple of spots outside of the city, outside of Vale, and we can go have some real fun at. As I feel like this town might start to constrain on people's sensibilities after a little bit of time.
Oh, that sounds lovely. Yes, somewhere where we won't cause damage.
Well,
That people will care about.
all right, that's a little bit more fun. What's before we go though? What's your story? What's your story there, sir? You got just got visions and you came into town?
Well, I'm just. I mean, I only came looking for the money, but I'm thinking my story is not. I'm thinking we have a few points in common in that, and it's his eyes will kind of just they've kind of got shifting colors, but as he says that, they'll flash to like just a little bit of like a sparking like bright blue, kind of like the same iridium thing that you did.
Mm. Oh, one of the big boys. All right. This is gonna be a real fun time.
Oh, man.
Mine, at least, mine typically don't destroy buildings, but I'm still alive with them, so there's that.
Yeah, anything that keeps you kicking. Anything that keeps you kicking is not a bad thing to have in your arsenal.
As you're kind of finishing up that conversation, you all notice about 3 or 4, let's say 4, of some very self-important looking people in very banged up, obviously passed down body armor. Almost looks like a tactical football pad for the shoulders and the chest, and that's about it. Come walking in very self-importantly. There's just very, very much an air of arrogance and cockiness as they step up to the bar and order drinks. And Merc, you know that these are 4 of the volunteer law enforcement people. Signaling that it may be a good time to leave.
We look, y'all. I hate to leave a hookah burning, but we should probably get out. We should go.
These are your volunteer union busting sheriffs.
Oh yeah, yep. Mm-hmm. I figure the our local artisans and their painting job probably got squashed down pretty quick. So they're probably looking for the brains behind it. So we should leave. We should go.
Is there a back door to this place, or does Paige have to show off her fireball skills some more?
Merc, you do know there is a back door, and you're very familiar with the back door, as a matter of fact. You know a place that, or a route that you can take through the establishment to get to that door without being spotted.
Yeah, y'all just follow me and like kind of shift your hips around real bad, like you got to take a leak, and maybe we won't draw too much attention. I got away. I got out of here before a couple of dozen times. We'll be all right.
So, Merc, with you having done this a few times before, I'm gonna go ahead and basically give you an auto success on that.
Okay.
However, Wesley and Paige, with you being new here, you stick out a little bit, just a little bit. So I do want you both to roll, probably cool for this one, unless you have an ability that would make more sense for you.
I have not been treating me right. I will roll these two.
Ooh, another crit.
Nice. So
Another
13?
4.
Oh.
4.
Yeah, again.
So what order do you leave in? I assume Merc is leaving first.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But Paige, are
And
you in the
then-
middle or are you on the
Well,
end?
Paige is behind both of them.
Okay. So, Wesley, you do the PP dance perfectly, and nobody notices you or pays you any mind. They assume you're going to the bathroom. Paige, on the other hand, you said you got a 4?
Yeah.
You pretty much stand up and it's like, I have to pee right now, which actually draws attention instead of making you look like you are just being inconspicuous and and going to the bathroom. So you definitely draw the attention of, let's see, how many of the 3 of the 4 police officers. And fortunately for you, they don't recognize you, and Merc's already out of the room. So they just think you're really, really odd. And one of them just kind of grunts and points to where the bathrooms are and goes, "Bathrooms are over there, weirdo." And goes back to his drink.
Paige will go to the bathroom and then out the front door and then around the back.
Okay. So,
So
Paige actually did have to pee.
perfect.
Do you think she got lost, or do you think we have to go in there and rescue her? I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't really know her that well, and so I'm not really sure about sticking my neck out for somebody who I just met over a drug-infused shisha session.
Oh, I met her about half an hour ago, but I think if she was in real trouble, there'd be a lot more smoke coming out of the building by now. So
Okay,
I'd
so
give
we're
her a
just
minute
gonna-
before we call it quits.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll
And
take my
about
flask
5
out and take a nip.
5 minutes later, Paige comes up behind y'all.
I'm getting
Oh,
the
hello.
impression that sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry. Go ahead, Gwen.
Oh no. No, you go first.
Sorry, we got a subscription. Thank you, Rowan, for that subscription and 5 months. Holy cow! So how would you like to use that subscription? You can do a roll with advantage to the cast, or you can do a switch and a d6. Switch and a d6. All right. To the cast or to me?
Cruel. Cruel.
Mm, I love the
Switch to players, d6 to GM. All right, that's fair.
I don't know if that is fair, but okay.
I would be a lot meaner with the switch than I will be with the d6. So speaking of that, for anybody just joining or who's not familiar, we do have some really cool stuff that we do in the games that allows you to interact with it. It's all there right there. You can see for the different things, and switches are something that lets, in this case, the players will be able to switch an action that I take with a character. So, like for example, the policeman in the bar, instead of, oh holy crap! Thank you, Chromatic Chimera, for a rate of 15 viewers. Thank you and welcome.
Wow.
Holy cow! A lot of stuff happening all at once. Well, welcome. So, I was actually just explaining kind of what some viewer interactions can do because we just had a subscription. So there's lots of different stuff Thank you, Chromatic Chimera, for that follow. Welcome to the guild. So there's lots of stuff underneath my face currently that you can do, and we just had a switch given, and a switch allows, in this case, the cast to switch an action that I will take with an NPC at any point. So, for example, we just had some police officers noticing one of our characters and kind of pointing to a door, which was pretty, harmless. But if it had been something like, the police officer moves to arrest you, then they could use the switch to say it's not arrest, it's a different verb, which can cause some pretty funny hijinks. There's some other really cool stuff that you can do, like borrowed successes, where they can auto-succeed at something, but later on, based on something that I roll, they have a chance of losing a success later. And a lot of cool stuff like that. There's also cool things that you can do with channel points, which we called guild coins, which is that little round icon right below your chat bar in Twitch. So with that, I will we'll go back into the story. Thank you all for waiting patiently. What was the conversation that was happening before the raid and all the cool stuff happened?
Oh my gosh.
I think Merc and I had just been discussing how long we gave Paige before leaving this person that we had just met to the forces of the law.
So Paige, after like 5 to 10 minutes, comes up behind y'all. Hi, I'm sorry that took so long.
Yeah, I kind of thought you were skag bait. Good. You're good. You're not good. Nothing. Is anything on fire?
No, thank you.
Okay. Well,
Maybe next time.
we're probably all right then.
Hopefully not.
All right, y'all want to mosey then?
Yes.
All right. I know a real cool little place. Outside town just a little bit. I think we'll have a good time there.
Perfect. Wesley and Paige, you both know that you only have the supplies you brought with you, so if you need more weapons or ammo, now would be the time to suggest going to look at the shops before you leave town. If you're happy with what you have, though, by all means, feel free to go ahead and leave.
Do either of you need more supplies? I think I've got enough MREs for.
I mean, I need a 6-shooter. I think I left mine in the bar. I don't really fancy going back in there. I just need a real quick sidearm. Then I'm good.
I think I'm good on ranged weapons.
Okay. Well, at least one of you needs a weapon. How are you doing, Wesley?
So again, at least from my skill book or whatever, it looks like I start with a shotgun and a big knife. I don't know if there's any ammo for that shotgun or anything else,
Nice.
but I can drop some cash. I'm
You can
good
also
for a
change
shopping
that
spree.
to whatever 2 you want on that list.
Oh yeah, I picked those.
Okay.
So as far as ammo goes, I know I hate trying to keep track of that in most tabletop games. So I'm just gonna say, within reason, when you get to a spot where you can buy ammo, drop some cash. maybe like 5% of whatever you have currently, and that'll give you as much ammo as you need until the next time you come across an ammo station. So in this case, you're probably starting with plenty. I'd say you probably don't need to buy ammo right now.
Yeah, it's if there's anything available, I might buy some armor or shield or something like that. Something to.
Oh yes, a shield. Yes.
Perfect. So Rowan was asking if Brenna is not playing tonight. No, Brenna couldn't make it tonight. Too much stuff going on, specifically today on this particular date. But she did say she is definitely going to be here next week, come heck or high water. Yes, Brenna is Rowan's sister, who will be joining us for this game.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So yeah, that's why Brenna's not here. But they're determined to be here next week.
Excellent.
So with that in mind, that you need weapons and supplies and whatnot. Of course, Wesley and Paige, you saw the whole street of vendors as you came in, and Merc, you know that with the Vault Hunter craze that has popped up, there's a whole street full of new and old vendors that are looking to capitalize on it. So you know where this is as well, quite readily. So I'm assuming you all head in that direction.
Yeah.
Okay. So as you head over there, everybody give me a quick sharp roll to see what you notice. If you have any moves or abilities that have to pertain with, observation or taking in your surroundings, feel free to do
Why
that as
is
well.
it when I drop? What? I'm gonna take those rolls because that was technically a roll.
So Wesley, you were so fascinated with how these structures are standing because they look like they should not be, that you trip over a rock and fall flat on your face and don't notice anything that's going on.
Nice.
Good news is you don't take any harm, but your clothes are dirty.
I got 11.
Okay. Paige and Merc, you both notice everything. Specifically that the more prominent, the more well-built structures with like lights and sound and things like that on their signs all say Barks. It has like a little logo of something that looks a bit like a bulldog, like the classic spike-studded collar, and some really cheesy slogan. And then you notice all the smaller ones have their own names. A lot of them are BARKS, Rowan, not BARQS. However you spell Barks, the root beer. It's not the root beer. So it's Barks like a dog, and it's a picture of like a were-dog, but it looks sort of like a bulldog with a spike collar. The smaller stores all have their own signs of varying degrees of quality, but you notice in fine print underneath all of them it says a Barks subsidiary. So it becomes pretty clear that all of the shops are in some way or form tied into Barks, which is basically the local monopoly on everything that's not mining industry stuff. But several shops that sell weapons. There's one or two that sell shields, as well as some medical supplies, basically like an EpiPen type thing that helps you heal. Some of them generate one harm back to you, so one health essentially. Some of the more expensive ones do 2 or 3. That's mostly what you notice. Are you looking for something specific?
I'm just gonna look around. Maybe a shield isn't an awful idea, and maybe just a standard pistol. Nothing crazy.
I'm just looking for any, because if a shield does -1 harm, that would stack with my enchanted clothing, which also does -1 harm.
Okay. Yeah, so you do come across some shields. And, oh, by the way, Merc, you weren't here when we discussed this. Everybody starts with $150
Okay,
as
cool.
their
Excellent.
starting money. So you notice some shields. Pretty much the cheapest one that you find is $100. And it's the equivalent of 1 harm shield.
Nope.
Okay. You do notice some weapons. The weapons are a little bit cheaper. So Merc, you're able to find a classic revolver, and it's actually got 8 rounds.
Oh.
So it's an 8-shooter. It's about 75, and it does 1 harm per shot.
Okay. Yeah, we'll go ahead and pick that up.
And we'll say that this particular one does have a special feature where you can fire like sort of like rapid fire, like an old Western single action revolver. So you have to pull the hammer back each time, but you can get off 3 shots rapid fire as a single attack. So,
excellent. Okay.
So if you were going up against somebody that had, say, armor on and a shield, you could potentially do 1 harm to them. So you'd get through their shield and their armor.
Okay, great.
So a little special feature on that one.
I'm actually going to get the shield.
Okay.
I am. So that's $100.
So you've got a couple of different options. All of the cheapest shields are 100 for the -1 harm, but they're for particular types of harm. So there's a melee shield and there's a projectile shield that you're able to see readily, where they specifically block bullets or bladed weapons.
Bullets, absolutely.
Okay.
If there's a sword fight, I know how to deal with that.
Perfect. So you're able to get 1 shield. It definitely does not look like the highest quality. Like it's not pretty. It's dented and the paint's scraped. It's very obvious somebody took this off of a dead body. But it works and it seems reliable.
That's
All right.
awesome.
And then so that's Merc, that's your equipment. Paige, you've got your equipment. Wesley, was there anything that you were wanting to look for? Sound like you had.
I guess I'll pick up that the melee harm shield then. That's
Okay.
there.
So it's 100, and it will protect you against bladed weapons.
If there's any extra time, I imagine I might just be leading these folks around, trying to, under the guise of getting them the best deal wherever we go. I would definitely like to stop at a store of vices and pick up some hooch and some smoke.
Okay.
I know we're getting out of the city. I just want something to keep the boredom at bay.
Yeah, you don't notice a store per se with that type of stuff, but there is a nice fancy vending machine right there that has pretty much any kind of alcohol you could possibly want in a can, and also smokable objects in cans.
Great. Pick up, I'll say, $10 of each.
Okay. Yeah, you get like a 12-ounce can of Barks, whatever flavor you want, whiskey. So insert flavor here.
Great. And I guess it'll be Barks, let's see, watermelon whiskey. Like
Perfect.
the alliteration.
I want. Now, how much is this again?
Not sponsored by Barks Root Beer, no. So you get that, and yeah, a tin of Barks brand, like cigars or cigarettes, whatever you want it to be. There's
cool.
probably like 12 of them in there.
Okay, great.
And there's a little jingle that plays, and it says, thanks for shopping with Barks. Remember, we're the only choice.
And trust me, I'll remember. You always get me coming back.
And then what did you want to get, Gwen?
What's in the vending machine again?
So for this particular one, it is every variety of alcohol you could possibly want in a can, as well as tobacco type products. Something, it's not tobacco, but it's something similar.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly your what would be considered vices.
No.
There's probably even like a little mini gambling tablet that links into your actual bank account and allows you to play gambling games on Bark's website. Generally, this vending machine is a bad idea all around.
So says you.
I'm gonna wager like $2 on the gambling thing.
Okay.
Oh gosh, you installed the app?
Yeah, of course.
So you
It's
get the
just
app. It links into your account. Roll sharp.
Gladly.
Where
So
can I find this machine in real life?
That is 13 total because I crit. That's double sixes plus one.
Okay. So you're not entirely sure what bonus round thing you triggered, but you got double the pot, so you got $4 back. So you've gained $4 in addition to your own 2.
Nice.
And it pops up and says, "Would you like to play again?"
Yo, we
Sure.
might need to get out of town. This is how gambling addictions start.
This is the campaign now.
It's a slippery slope, guys. I'm just going to let you know it's a slippery slope out here.
Let me put it this way.
Later.
If you play again, the likelihood of something catastrophic happening to your account increases each time you play.
Yeah, no.
Because I am the
I'm
GM and I
fine.
want to discourage this type of behavior.
I'm fine with doubling my money.
All right, cool. There are other vending machines and shops and things like that along the way, so if there's anything you really, really want, now's the time to say so as you head out of town. I'm going to take that silence as you're good. So you reach the outside of town, and Wesley, you recognize it as the area that you saw in your vision, and sure enough, off in the far distance, you hear just the faint sound of what sounds like a car engine.
Ah, crap. Was this the west side of town?
Yeah, why?
Yeah, there's a party bus of just angry-looking folks with face paints all over. And it's gonna be on this side.
Well,
Oops.
I guess we should either try to avoid them or I don't know. We can kill them, probably.
Okay. Wesley just pulls out his shotgun.
All right. It is getting closer. At this point now, Merc and Paige can both hear it. Do you do anything to prepare? Do you try to hide to ambush them, or do you just charge straight towards the vehicle, or just stand in the middle of the road? How are you approaching this?
So, Paige is going to hide.
Okay. Give me a cool roll. See how well you
Awesome.
hide. Or any applicable skill.
is it? Every single time. It's a 5. Every single time.
Um,
The
So-
dice know this character clearly.
so Paige, you try to hide. There's like a little sort of hill of dirt. So I'm trying to think of how to describe this as I'm seeing it in my head. The road curves. So they're coming from the far west end, and it's going to curve around and come straight towards you. But there's a little hill of dirt that you could hide behind, which is directly in front of the curved part of the road. So Paige, you go over there and you hunker down behind this sort of berm of dirt. But in your excitement and nervousness of getting ready for a fight, your fireball thing goes off a little early, and it basically sends up a flare, alerting everyone to your position. As the engine gets noises get a little bit closer, you also hear some muttering and faint chatter going. What is that? There's a flare. Let's go check that out. From these bandits that are riding in the jeep. Wesley and Merc, how are you preparing for this fight now that a flare has gone up?
Well, I mean, we've already introduced ourselves. Let's be a little bit more formal about this. I'll walk out holding the blade and just kind of stand in the road and wave. And
Do we do formal introductions on this planet, or are bullets the typical introduction?
It depends. It depends.
I mean, I'm just saying that wherever you're gonna take us, I think we'll get there faster with a nice truck.
Well, yeah, but we should introduce ourselves to the truck first. All right? That's just common courtesy. Need a driver.
Right then.
Uh-huh.
Need a driver.
Paige hearing this and knowing that their cover's blown, we'll back up to the group.
Okay. Well then, as you're finishing up that conversation, I'm going to assume that all three of you are standing in the middle of the roadway just outside of town. As this Jeep type vehicle peels around the corner, nearly tipping over, you can actually see some of the bandits shifting their weight frantically so that the Jeep doesn't tip over. They're yelling and hollering and cheering, and generally just sound like bloodthirsty bandits that you wouldn't want to meet in any situation. But you also hear like, there they are, there's 3 of them. And one of the smaller one goes, I'm gonna use that sword to shave! As the
Better
Jeep
not be talking about my sword.
barrels towards you. They're not stopping, and it looks like they clearly intend to run you over. So I'm going to say that is their action first. Let's go with, let me have Wesley, Paige, and Merc. All 3 of you just roll 1d6 and let me know what number you got.
Righto.
Okay. This d6 is not getting rolled again.
It's
I'm rocking a 4.
Holy crap.
I
Patrick.
have a 5.
Okay. That's perfect. So it'll go Wesley, Paige, Merc then. So Wesley, it's your turn. What do you want to do? There's a Jeep full of bandits barreling towards you.
And the way you described it in my vision earlier, it's kind of like either mesh sides or like open sides.
Yeah, it's like an army Jeep. So there's not doors there, but more like a modern Jeep in that it does have a roll bar for everybody to hold on to. But yeah, there's no doors or sides to them.
Can I try and do a kick some ass move and see if I can like pivot and jump onto the side and like punch into somebody
Sure.
and just start hanging on?
You can certainly try. Go ahead and roll for that.
All right. It's my other move is the big whammy, so I get to For when I do kick some ass, I get to roll weird instead of tough.
Oh, cool.
But on a miss, I get magical backlash, so that's fun.
Oh. Okay. You do have a D6, by the way. If you end up needing to use it, it is there.
Got it. No, I think I'm
12.
good.
You are very good. So you accomplish exactly what you were trying to do. So you're able to sort of sidestep and grab onto the vehicle. Describe to me kind of what you do with your success there.
If I can, I'd like to make almost like a running jump onto the side and grab on and just wind up with a punch that starts glowing blue and collecting some magical energy around it, and just
Okay.
punch into the driver's seat to try and see if I could like divert this from hitting everybody else. Just like,
Okay.
hi, we're new in town. We're trying to meet people.
I love it.
Very formal. Very well done.
You do damage. With your
It's-
particular abilities, how much harm do you do with a punch? Because I imagine that's probably a little more than normal.
It's 2 harm, close, obvious, and ignores armor.
Okay, perfect. So you do 2 harm. They take the full 2. And actually, yeah, with this being your first little encounter here, I'm going to make him pretty squishy. You just like completely shatter this guy's jaw. He's down for the count. And as a result, he of the impact, he's holding on to the steering wheel, and he gets kicked to the right, and the wheel goes with him, which causes the Jeep to basically fishtail and start sliding down the road on its side. Given that you got a 12, I'll go ahead and give you this. The Jeep is probably about to tip over. What do you want to do about that? It is still heading towards everyone else. It's just slightly slower now.
Oh, maybe I was helpful. I'm just gonna try and I just use some. I don't know if it would be a tough roll or not, but just kind of tuck and roll away from the car.
Yeah, we can do tough for that. Yeah, roll tough to sort of tuck and roll away from the vehicle. You've also got time to shout, like, look out if you want, or something like that. You succeed. So yeah, you tuck and roll, and it looks super badass. And like the way that you roll and stand up from that, even it like automatically gets the dust off of your coat, just in the way that you flick the coat around. So you look like a total action movie star. Paige, you've just witnessed Wesley be a super badass and punch the driver out, and now the Jeep is on its side, coming towards you a little bit slower, but it's definitely still a threat. You've got a little more reaction time now thanks to it being on its side. How do you address this threat?
So I'm going to run beside it, and use a fire blast. So if this works, it does 3 harm. And
Okay.
if it doesn't, there's a list of things.
Okay. What are you targeting?
That was the
So like the
The
inside or
car.
the engine, or as examples?
I don't think it really matters because they're all double ones.
Oh no.
Plus 2, which would be 4 total. Oh,
So you
what
try.
does it say for? Oh yeah. So
Oh, is there something specific that happens with this one?
yes, there is.
Oh, okay.
I'm
What is
looking
the
for-
specific
I'm
bad?
looking. So, I'm looking for it. It's yeah,
I'll
because
pull it up real quick as well. So, what was the move that you used?
it was well,
Fire or something?
it's not a move. It's just so combat magic. It is because usually there's a thing that Taz used for on a miss, but I don't see it.
Okay, no problem. I will just make something up. And if we find out it's something specific later, then we'll just do that going forward from there. So in this case, you try to fire blast the Jeep, and like run to the side and fire blast it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna say that you didn't notice your shoelaces were untied. So as you go to run towards it, you trip over your own shoelaces. Sort of a good news, bad news situation. The bad news is you don't get your attack off. The good news is you trip out of the way, but you do bonk your head and you take 1 harm.
Okay, that's fine. I'm going to definitely look for the thing
Okay.
while the other people are going. So
Concussion shield, so yeah. So Merc, you've seen Wesley be a badass. You've seen Paige, bless their heart, they tried. The Jeep's still coming at you. What do you do?
Well, I mean, I guess I'm just gonna hightail it out of there real quick.
Okay.
I ain't no hero.
So just sort of.
Yeah, no, I'm gone. I'm gone.
Okay. Do you run to the side then, or run back into town, or which direction? I guess
He's just gonna run to the side. Not gonna.
Okay.
Yeah. He's gonna try to probably gonna unholster the gun and keep an eye out for any bandits who survive the inevitable wreck.
Okay. Roll tough to see how well you're able to sort of sprint out of the way, because this thing's moving really fast.
That is an 8.
An 8. Yeah, it's doesn't look particularly badass. You scramble a little bit, look a little alarmed, but you get out of the way. And as you do, the Jeep skids and screeches across this mostly dirt road, and then slams into a pole. It's like a power pole or something like that. It's mostly concrete though, much stronger than the Jeep. So the Jeep hits pretty hard. A couple of bandits go flying, and as one of them careens out of the vehicle, you hear them yelling, "I told you we shouldn't have let him drive!" And then a splat.
oh yeah, I found it. It's one of the basic moves. It's use magic on a fumble. It's a glitch. The effect is weakened. The effect is of short duration. You take -1 harm, ignore armor. The magic draws immediate unwelcome attention, or it has a problematic side effect.
Okay.
The keeper may require one of the following. The spell requires weird materials. Yeah.
Okay. We will keep that in mind for next time.
Yeah. But I found it.
Excuse me.
Underused magic.
A couple of the bandits flew out of the Jeep and yeah, they splatted. They're toast. There's about 3 left that pull themselves out of the Jeep, and they don't look too happy. But it takes them a little while to pull themselves out of the Jeep, so you're going to get another action before they really start getting nasty. You notice one of them has a shotgun, one of them has this weird assortment of like various saw blades with handles on their belt, and one in their hand. It looks like they're getting ready to throw it. And then another just has these big chains wrapped around their fists, like brass knuckles, sort of.
Then I will take a pot shot at the one about to throw the bladed thing, because that seems uncomfortable. That sounds like tetanus. I'm not down with tetanus.
So Wesley will go first, but I will keep that in mind.
Yeah, awesome.
So we'll say that you call out dibs on the one with the saw blades, and the other two, you're able to hear that. So Wesley, you're the first to act. What do you do? You're muted.
Hearing that, he's all yours. New friends. We are looking for a driver. We only need one. Who would like to apply for the position? And I will, knowing that you called dibs on Mr. Saw, I will aim my shotgun at their shotgun person.
Okay. Are you trying to convince him to become your driver for real, or are you just being witty?
I'm not trying hard. I'm more just waiting for him to make an aggressive move, at which point I will pull the trigger.
Okay.
But if anyone asks, I gave them the opportunity.
It's very obvious that he's about to pull the trigger on his shotgun. But you've got the drop on him, so you can fire first.
Got it. How do I do that? I do not know.
I believe with weapons it's sharp that you roll. But if your playbook has something specific to that type of weapon, anything ranged, just let me know. And I will read over all your playbooks a little bit more this week, so I can be a little bit more familiar with your moves.
Yeah, like I said, I've got that kick some ass, big whammy, weird thing, but I don't think I'm throwing any extra flavor on the shotgun. I think I'm just shooting with it now, so I'll just roll sharp.
Okay. So a 6. So you go to shoot at the other guy, and you hear click, and you realize that you forgot to load the shotgun. So it doesn't fire.
Shit.
Paige, I believe you were next on the initiative order.
Yeah, so Paige is going to try again. This time Paige focuses.
Okay.
Starts doing the chanting. And that's a 9 plus 2 is 11.
Nice. You succeed.
That's 3 harm.
Who are you aiming at?
And the fire doesn't spread.
Nice. Who are you aiming at? You've got shotgun guy. You've got saw blade guy that Merc called dibs on. Okay.
Absolutely. Shotgun guy.
You outright kill this guy. Do you want to describe how he dies?
So, because this is a 10 plus and this fire does not spread, I'm saying it's just immolates him and basically forms a fire thing around his body and just melts into ash and burns into ash.
As he's being burned and melted, he just kind of yells out like, "I'm cooking! Why do I smell good? I'm hungry!" And turns into a pile of ash. Merc, it is your turn, and Mr. Sawblades is still standing.
All right, we're gonna get things a little close and a little personal now. I'm gonna run up and attempt to grab him kind of on the sides of his skull and let some of my monstrous abilities take hold.
Okay. You're able to get up to him, no problem. What monstrous ability are you wanting to use?
My base attack is life drain, ignore armor. So I can deal 1 harm intimate life drain with the natural attack.
Okay. Go ahead and roll for that. Whatever the roll is
Alrighty.
for that ability.
Yep. Is that would that be weird or kick some ass?
It should say.
Yeah, it's imagine that's probably kick some ass.
Probably. I'm
It
trying to
should
remember
say
what.
something about if you roll weird instead of plus tough, you roll plus weird. Yeah.
Yeah, that's unholy strength. I don't have that. Yeah, so that'll just be tough then, which
Okay.
is not awful. You can rock tough. Right. All right.
Here it is. Kick some ass. Yeah, so it'd be tough.
All right. Cool. So that's a 7.
Yeah.
7. So yeah, you do succeed. It's not pretty. You kind of have to fumble. So you try to grab like the side of his head, and there's some slapping back and forth. So it looks a little silly, like bunnies slapping at each other with their paws for a minute. But you get the damage across in the process. They're still standing, but it definitely did some damage to them. They are affected for sure. It's their turn now. So shotgun guy is completely gone. Nothing left but his shotgun sitting on the ground. Which leaves Sawblade guy and Chain Fist guy. So Sawblade guy obviously sees you, Merc, as the biggest threat at the moment. So he's going to take a swing at you. Go ahead and roll tough to try and dodge or block, or if you have any fighting abilities that you can use that would apply, feel free to use those instead.
Now I'll try to hoist my sword up and roll tough to block. Oh no, but I don't. That's a 6.
Oh no. You do have a d6 available if you would like to roll an extra one and use that d6 that was gifted by Gwen, I believe.
I'll save it for somebody else.
Okay. In that case, you are going to take that damage. So that saw blade on a stick basically swings around, and it catches you right in the shoulder. And it's going to do... saw blade. Oh, that's right. It's not a roll. It's their set values. I think that'd be probably about 2 harm. If you have armor or a blade shield, that will negate some of it.
I do not.
All right, so you take 2 harm. The good news is you have a sort of saw blade type knife sticking out of your shoulder. He was not able to pull it with him. So, assuming you survive this, souvenir. So, you know.
Hey.
Silver
Souvenirs are always great.
The chain fist guy is probably going to go after Wesley. So he just sort of bull rushes you and tries to punch you in the nose, sort of like a running uppercut. Go ahead and roll toughness to defend yourself, unless you have something else that you can use. Seven, and I think you're muted again. So a 7, that is a success. Okay. So instead of clocking you in the face with an uppercut, he misses the punch, but he does sort of barrel into you, and you both go rolling into the dirt. You take no harm, but you're on the ground alongside the guy. And I think that's going to bring it around to your turn.
Okay, in that case, if I'm like lying next to him, I'm gonna try and do my magic big whammy and just like headbutt him with some extra magic oomph on there.
Okay. Go ahead and roll for that. 10. You are successful. You do it in a very, very cool way. You even got time to get off a witty one-liner before you hit him if you want.
Don't have one.
Okay. So you smack him. How much harm does that do?
It does 2.
2. So you hit him, and yeah, he's still
and ignores armor for if that helps.
His head isn't armored, so it's
Got it.
It's fine either way. So he's got like a broken nose, and there's just blood pouring down his face. He's still in the fight, but looks like just barely. Paige, it's your turn.
Oh, that's me.
Yep.
So, what's the situation now?
So Wesley just headbutted one of the chain fist guy who's now bleeding a lot from his broken nose.
Mm-hmm.
And Merc just got hit in the shoulder with a saw blade.
So,
Excuse me.
Paige,
He's pretty close to the saw blade guy, though.
Paige is not going to go close to the saw blade guy because Wesley called the saw blade guy. However, Paige is going to shoot a fire missile at the saw blade guy.
Okay. Don't fail.
Please.
If it's below a 10, it doesn't exactly fail, but it's very bad. So if it's below 10.
With Merc standing right next to the saw blade guy, I think that's the thing that we're worried about.
The fire spreads.
All right.
Oh shit.
Roll your dice.
Oh shit. Oh shit. So that's a 6 total.
Would you like to use
We
that
do have a
D6 that you have
D6.
sitting there?
Yes. I will use the D6.
You can't see me right now, but I'm nodding my head going, do you want to use the D6?
So that's 9 total.
9 total. Awesome.
So,
this being our very first session and all, I'm going to be very nice and call that a 10. Because I really don't want to see anybody die on session 0. So yeah, you set the guy on fire. It does what, 3 harm, was it?
No, it does 2. There's only 2 harm because this is missile 1 harm, magic far obvious, but fire is +1. So that's 2 harm total.
Okay. Oh, but Merc already did 1 damage, so that does kill them. They just go, I should have stayed in bed, and fall over dead.
The
Charred
missile
up pretty bad.
The missile hits their head, and the head just flames up.
Okay. Yeah, they get that last little squeaky line out before their head is just gone in flames. The saw blade axe thing that they were holding at that point, different than the one that's currently in Merc's shoulder, but the one they were holding falls to the ground. The rest of them get burnt up, that were on his belt. So that just leaves Chain Fist guy and Merc. It is your turn.
Great. So Chain Fist guy is on the ground, right?
Yes, currently with a profusely bleeding nose.
Great. I'm gonna try to reach over and get the depressed socket and just pull back, and hope we can do some cool stuff with that.
Oh, that just gave me chills in a bad way.
Yeah.
I'm super sorry.
No. That was perfect. It's just like the sympathetic cringe. when you see somebody
Oh,
get hit.
Yeah, I know.
No need to be
that
sorry
is-
at all. That was just like, oh, that would hurt so bad.
Yeah. No, it's. I'm hoping it's not real pleasant for him.
Okay.
And this is with the life drain.
Okay, go ahead and roll. You roll weird for that.
No, it's
Or was it-
it's. I think it's kick some ass because it's a
okay.
natural weapon. If it's kick some ass, then it's a 13.
Awesome.
Oh,
You can
wow.
have it do whatever you want.
Alright.
What happens to this poor soul?
I think right before I do, I hear a squeaky voice say, "I smell trouble!" as I stick my fingers into his nose and just wrench back the skull cap. And as it wrenches off, you see a little bit of life energy float up and go up Merc's nose.
Okay.
Yeah, don't cross Merc.
Yeah, this bandit just dies gruesomely and crumples to the ground. The chains that were around his fist are there on the ground unaffected, so those are salvageable. So that being the end of the encounter, I will go ahead and tell you you have access to the shotgun, which is just a very basic shotgun. You've got the 2 saw axe things, which do 2 harm. They do not ignore armor and are considered bladed weapons. So if somebody doesn't have any armor on, you'll do 2 harm. If they do, then it'll subtract whatever. And you have access to the chains, which basically make your fist do 1 harm instead of 0, if you wanted to use those, or you could use them as actual chains. And also, as you head over to the Jeep, you notice it's not totaled, it still works. It's not the prettiest vehicle. It's now very dented and all the paint is scraped up. And it probably pulls a little to one side now. But it's a functioning Jeep, so you have a vehicle that you can use. And inside the Jeep, you find, we'll say, $25 each for each of you in the glove box. They're
How many dollars?
$25 each.
Okay.
They're like crumpled, and most of them have some blood on them or something like that, but you're able to transfer them digitally into your account if you don't want to hold on to the cash. Through the magic of your fancy tablets that everybody has because convenience.
Yep.
Barks brand tablets.
Yep, exactly. Remember, Barks is your only choice. So yeah, I think we'll probably wrap it up there, unless there's any last minute things that you all want to do before we close out our session tonight.
I want to apologize for picking fire.
Fair. Rolls just were not with you tonight. But that was fun. So next week we should have Brenna with us, and we'll be able to easily introduce her character here. And yeah, you got a vehicle, so now you can explore a lot more of Calamity in a much safer fashion. And that was a really cool encounter. Thank you, everyone, for playing. Thank you, Rowan, for that subscription. Thank you, make sure I say this name right, Chimera, for that awesome raid of 15 people. That was amazing. Thanks, Gwen, for redeeming some guild coins. We'll do some quick outros here. We'll go reverse order this time. So let's start with Merc. And by the way, so do you go by Insanity or Zan, or how do we address you out of character?
Insanity or Zan works just fine. Kind of lean into the whole mental illness thing. Yeah, I'm Zan. Or Insanity. You can follow me at Twitter on Insanity TTRPG or at insanity.com.
Okay.
Or insanitygaming.com.
I might actually have your your Twitter tag wrong. I apologize.
Oh,
So I've got it as just at Insanity, but it's Insanity TTRPG.
yeah, somehow somebody beat me to Insanity. Weirdest thing.
Okay.
Yeah,
There we
Insanity
go.
TTRPG.
I am glad you said that. That is now fixed. So now I won't be sending people to the wrong account.
Awesome, thanks so much.
Perfect. And what was your favorite part of the session?
Oh man, I really, I really enjoyed the initial meeting, especially the part where I liked the organic ending of the kind of hapless miners going to paint their mural, and then me just saddling up to a new table to avoid having to buy a new shisha pipe. I thought that that was a very organic way to introduce the characters to each other. I was pretty pleased with that.
That was great. Fantastic. Well, thank you again for playing. I'm very much looking forward to next week and learning more about Merc, and he's an awesome character.
Thank you so much. Can't wait to play again.
Awesome, and we'll pass it on to Gwen. Gwen, what was your favorite part, and where can we find you next?
So my favorite part, well, I have several favorite parts, but oh gosh, all the times where the dice helped build Paige's character, because Paige it apparently does not have any cool at all.
I keep. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, there was that one point where I'm like, I'm not even going to roll, because I had rolled like a few seconds earlier and it was double ones, and I'm like, I choose to fail.
That was pretty great.
I'm like, even if I didn't say that, it was still double ones. There's nothing I can do about that.
All right, and where can we find you next?
Probably Thursday? Is there a thing Thursday?
We're not doing a thing Thursday. Well, there's no tabletop on Thursday. The next thing here that I know that you're on is Friday when we're doing Peasant
Friday?
Strike Back Season 1.5, which is this Friday.
Yeah. Ooh.
Perfect.
Ooh, so there's nothing
and
left here Thursday.
Patrick, what was your favorite part, and where can we find you next?
My favorite part, I think, was meeting both Paige and Merc, because they both kind of they both brought out kind of two different parts of Wes, in that Paige is very like much more open and out there and like kind of making Wes have to be more sociable, whereas I think Merc is going to feed into a lot of Wes's impulsiveness and like lack of control. So I'm excited to see that play out. It's
awesome.
After hit for the spooky playset. It's you pick a few different. You pick like 3 different things to give the game master like control over the situation, and like essentially negatives for me, and just all 3 of them Merc just kind of hits in terms of bringing out at me. So I'm excited for that.
Perfect. And where can we find you next?
You can find me next. I'm appearing in Tales from the Grim's community game of Watchmen: The Black Freighter. I don't know exactly when that's going to be posted yet, but we recorded some videos already, and then we're going to have some live episodes too, and it's a lot of fun. It's a Watchmen Blades in the Dark little mini series, and also the thing I forget to plug is, because I keep forgetting I did it, I wrote a D&D adventure. It's on DM's Guild.
Oh yeah.
It's called Little Ship of Horrors, and if you like aliens and chestbursters, or carnivorous singing plants with a few levels in bards, you should check it out.
It's amazing. Yeah, definitely throw a link up in chat for the guide. Yeah, the Watchmen thing sounds really cool. So I'll be excited to see more about that. Well,
Carnivorous singing plants.
With levels and bard, that's amazing. My favorite part, I loved the whole thing. The whole thing was really fun. But I think if I had to choose a favorite, it would be Wesley jumping onto the Jeep and going like, "Hey, we're new to the neighborhood." That whole exchange was just, like I said before, really badass. It was cool. As for where you can find me next, I will be here tomorrow at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, 3 p.m. Eastern for the Black Feather Tavern. That is not a tabletop, one of the 2 non-tabletop streams we have each week. It's just chatting and hanging out. Basically, it's set up like a tavern or a coffee shop. I'm here that you can talk to me. You can tell me about your day, whatever, just like you would a bartender or a barista. And of course, I'll be chatting quite a bit as well. So the whole idea is if you like that setting of going to a coffee shop and talking about your life with people, or going to a bar and doing that, but maybe you can't do that at the time, or maybe physical or financial limitations prevent you from doing that, this is your chance to do something similar. That's sort of the whole premise behind the Black Feather Tavern, just a safe space to hang out and chat. So that'll be, that usually goes for about 1 to 2 hours depending on the week, and that'll be tomorrow. And then at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, 9 p.m. Eastern, so same start time as this, but tomorrow, we'll be doing our first session of the Tickfaw Files, GM'd by Rowan North, which is going to be really, really fun. I'm really excited about that. Hey, Rowan's still here. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Yes. It's, how would you describe it, Rowan? Like a super spooky monster of the week, mystery stories each week. Would that be a fair assessment? Monster of the Week sort, but with fairies. Yeah, it's gonna be really fun. I'm super excited about my character there, so I'm really getting excited about this for tomorrow. So yeah, that'll be 7 p.m. Mountain Time, 9 p.m. Eastern. That's where you can find me next. You can find all of us on Twitter at the tags underneath of our faces, especially Insanity now that I have the right one. Again, sorry about that. Yeah, so we'll end it there with a raid, especially considering we had such a lovely raid today. And it looks like Scrat is currently on. So yeah, we're going to go raid Scraticus really quick. What should our raid cry be?
We're new in the neighborhood.
I love it.
Yes.
They are currently on a break. They're doing Step into the Quantum. So Scrat's currently on a break, but I definitely recommend sticking around for when the break is over.
Hi, we're new in the neighborhood.
Because that is being GM'd by Joshua Barbeau, who does our Peasant Strike Back series over here. Phenomenal GM.
Yes.
Looks like Madame Gandalf's on that cast as well. So just a really good cast all around, especially with Joshua doing the GMing there. So if you haven't followed Scraticus, definitely give him a follow and stick around for the rest of the show because it's going to be really good. And let me just get the raid cry in here. Hi, we're new to the neighborhood. And
I swear someone cursed my desk.
There we go. There's our raid cry. And we'll go ahead and get that going. And I will see you all tomorrow. Bye.
How many double ones did I get that